From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
Hi, good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce, and this is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, the road to prosperity. We'll tell you about the tie between a strong transportation infrastructure and a strong economy. And my guest today is Nevada U.S. Congresswoman Dina Titus. Thanks for being here today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Appreciate it. Well, the end of the year brought a nice gift to Nevadans from Capitol Hill, all wrapped up in a signed into law transportation bill that has lots of goodies for the Silver State. And today on Eye on Washington, we'll tell you why the Surface Transportation Act is so important to you in the Nevada economy. We'll find out about its Nevada benefiting amendments, authored by my guest. As the 2015 year came to a close, President Obama signed into law the first long-term transportation bill passed by Congress in a decade. The Fixing America's Surface Transportation Act is a 5-year legislation. It's designed to improve the nation's surface transportation infrastructure, including our roads, bridges, transit system, and passenger rail network. The act also enhances federal safety programs for highways, public transportation, motor carriers, hazardous materials, and passenger rail. Now, Congresswoman, a bit later in the show, we'll detail your Nevada helping amendments that were part of that big bill. But for now, I want to focus on the act in general. Let's start just kind of helping our audience understand why a safe and efficient transportation system is essential to, well, even Americans' basic quality of life.
Well, it was a very important piece of legislation, and it was bipartisan, and that's unusual in this climate that we have today politically. The acronym is the FAST Act, and that's kind of interesting. It wasn't fast. It's taken a long time to get this done, and the fact that it's a 5-year bill is very important because that gives some stability and some predictability to agencies like NDOT so they know how much money they're going to have and they can plan for improvements. I wanted to be on the Transportation Committee because, you know, in Southern Nevada, my district, we don't produce a lot of things. We have to import everything from people to lobsters. So you can't do that if you don't have good transportation infrastructure.
You know, not only does a good transportation plan get us to work and play and what have you faster, but it also gets the freight with the goods that we need. It makes sure that they're not delayed. So. Yeah, and this impacts, business, recreation, but also health. I was thinking about this, and you've been on this show a lot about the importance of healthcare. If you can't get those medical deliveries on time, that can be crucial to your life.
Well, that's true, and also moving around the valley in an expeditious way is important for health, whether it's an ambulance or just getting to the VA hospital. So it's about bringing people into Las Vegas Valley and also then moving them around in an efficient way. We want to serve those 42 million visitors who come, but you've also got 1.5 million people living there who need to be able to get around.
You know, last year, and this is the most recent one we have, the American Society of Civil Engineers, they released their 2014 report card last year for the nation's infrastructure. The nation got a D. Right. Nevada got a C-. I'm guessing you'd like to see that a little closer to the A+ range, but how is the FAST Act, and even you can even say some of the work that you made sure was included in it for the Silver State, how's that going to help Nevada to sort of, you know, get closer to that goal?
Well, it appropriates over $300 billion for a 5-year period, and the share that Nevada will get will increase to about $400 million. So we'll have some federal dollars coming in to invest in road improvements. If you drive around Las Vegas, there are cones everywhere. Now, this is a nuisance, and it stops traffic temporarily, but it's really a good sign because improvements are being made for the future.
You mentioned it's the importance of it being a 5-year plan, so you know you're not constantly going back to the well, et cetera, and it's fully funded for those 5 years, and that's important, isn't it? Because it lets the state, like Nevada, And local governments as well kind of plan and undertake more long-term complex projects. Isn't that correct?
Well, absolutely. We're trying to do Project Neon, which is downtown. We're trying to do expansion of I-15. You're looking at the authorization of I-11. They want to build a new highway or a railroad spur out to Apex. All of those things take long-term planning, and this will facilitate that.
I know you mentioned I-11. We're going to talk about some stuff that I know you're real involved in and have helped a lot with that. And when we return, those Nevada amendments to the bill that my guest says you're going to like a lot. That's just ahead.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, Las Vegas Sands Corporation, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada, Jim Marsh Automotive, the Rogich Communications Group, and by Champion Chevrolet Reno.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
I got a call during training camp. My son was born 5 weeks early with end-stage renal failure. We started dialysis at about 9 months. We hooked him up every single night, and then they said we need to get him a transplant. And my wife, amazingly, was a match. The second he had that transplant, he wanted to eat. Fast forward 5 years, he's in kindergarten, rides his bike, does all the normal stuff a 6-year-old does. I don't think there's anything more special than giving life.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Help Nevada Humane Society save the lives of orphan kittens by becoming a foster care volunteer. Over 2,000 kittens a year need temporary care.
These kittens need food and personal attention until they're old enough for adoption. Foster care is fun, rewarding, and truly saves lives.
I love fostering. I have fostered almost 50 kittens so far, and it is so rewarding.
If you can foster kittens for a few weeks, we can find them homes for life. To learn how you can become a foster care volunteer, call or visit Nevada Humane Society.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of a big transportation bill and what it means to Nevada. My guest today is Nevada U.S. Congresswoman Dina Titus. The Fix America's Surface Transportation Act includes provisions and amendments authored by my guest with you in mind. We're going to look at two of the big ones in this segment. We're going to look at one in segment 3. Language submitted by the Congresswoman, who serves as the Nevada chair of the I-11 caucus, extends the authorization of the Interstate 11 current parameters of Las Vegas to Phoenix to reach north to I-80 and to Interstate south of Tucson. The legislation also authorizes a funding program which could help fund I-11 called the Nationally Significant Freight and Highways Project Program. Another big amendment for Nevada would create the first ever National Advisory Committee on Tourism Infrastructure Strategy. The committee will be made up of members of leaders of the travel and tourism industry and tasked with developing a national strategy for ensuring transportation policies that align with the needs of travelers. So, Congressman, let's start with that latter amendment. A release from your office after the president signed the bill stated that you want to ensure that state and local tourism agencies are part of the consultation process of metropolitan planning organizations. How does this work, and why was that important to you to make sure that language was included?
Well, some people forget what a large role travel and tourism play in our national economy. Everybody has something that they want to promote, whether it's the world's largest ball of twine or it's the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. So we got some bipartisan support for this amendment. There are actually two parts of it. You'll create a National Advisory Commission to the Secretary of Transportation, which will talk about the importance of travel and tourism and have his ear and be at the table at the national level. And then at the state and local level, we want to be sure that representatives of agencies like the Las Vegas Visitors and Convention Authority are at the table when they do the within the state planning for how they're going to use those dollars.
You know, your amendment also directs state and local communities to select projects and strategies that, quote, enhance travel and tourism. You're focused mostly on Nevada, of course, but also strengthening across America, really, with this effort. What do you mean by projects and strategies?
Well, take a regional approach, for example. Many people who come to Las Vegas to visit our many attractions also would like to see some of the national parks in the area. So if we can work with Utah and Arizona to come up with a tourism strategy, whether it's highways or helicopters to the Grand Canyon, that's a smarter way to approach transportation than just looking at it within our own borders.
And the I-11 amendment, let's talk about that. It extends that quite a bit, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Now we have it authorized all the way from Arizona, Mexico, up to past Reno to I-80, which takes you to San Francisco. So this will transport a lot of freight and be part of the Canamex highway eventually. But my priority remains Las Vegas to Phoenix, because we are the only two large metropolitan areas in the country that aren't connected by an interstate highway.
That nationally significant freight and highways project program, as it's called, it hopefully helps Nevada, right? Explain why it's not kind of for sure. How's that
well,
work?
It's a fund to look at transporting freight, and certainly freight will be a large part of the traffic on I-11. But we have to compete for those dollars. So the money is now available, but we're going to have to make a real effort to get our share of that money
so
through,
it could help
through
the interstate.
application.
Okay.
Exactly.
So how would the decision be made? What might lean it?
Well, it'll
ways?
be made at the federal level by the Department of Transportation, so we've got to be sure we have our best minds engaged in that kind of essentially grant writing process or application process.
We're going to get to that third big amendment in our next segment, but before we close out here, anything on the other two that you want to add to or that we didn't ask about?
Well, I think it's important to note that we had Secretary Fox in the district just recently who met with some of the leaders of economic development and tourism, Rossi Rollencotter. I wanted him to see up close how important tourism is. He was there for the CES meeting and he got a real good dose. I think we've got some good people from Nevada who could serve on that national commission.
That's good news. Okay, and when we return, safe travels, the Congresswoman's focus on your safety. Let's look at that Third Amendment. It's right after this.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
I was the first woman ever to deploy on a Strategic Air Command deployment.
You didn't just serve your country.
I lobbied for women to be on board submarines.
You paved the way for others.
I joined the Army because I wanted a challenge.
And the challenges you face now? Your VA delivers a variety of benefits. Learn more, including how to apply online using e-benefits.
No matter what time it is, you've earned them. Apply today.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making Home Affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. Play responsibly.
We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls. But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of the first long-term transportation bill passed by the Congress in a decade. We've been visiting with Nevada U.S. Congresswoman Dina Titus. Well, another major amendment by the Congresswoman that was included in that new transportation law focuses on safety. Her Complete Streets Amendment requires state and local planning processes to account for the transportation needs of drivers as well as for pedestrians and cyclists. It's based on the Complete Streets program initiated by the National Smart Growth America organization. The Complete Streets design means that our roads enable safe access for all users, including pedestrians, bicyclists, motorcycles, motorists, transit riders, and all areas, ages, and abilities. A release from the Congresswoman's office following passage of that bill says the goal of the amendment was to ensure the safety of all users with a special focus on reducing pedestrian and cyclist fatalities. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's most recent data from 2013 says pedestrians' fatalities, while down, remained 15% higher than the record low 4,109 recorded in 2009, and cyclist fatalities are up 1.2%, the highest since 2006. Now, Congresswoman, your office's press statement sent out when the act and your amendments became the law of the land said that in 2013, a pedestrian was killed every 2 hours and 8 minutes. I know that you know, those bike accidents and fatalities are on the rise, and getting safety into this bill was a real big priority of yours.
Well, that's right. I represent a very urban area. So you've got a lot of different kind of users. You've got people riding bicycles, people walking, people in little scooters who may be disabled or seniors. We're trying to get people out of their cars and into buses. And one of the intersections in my district at Maryland and Flamingo is one of the most dangerous in the whole state. Many, many accidents there. So this was a priority to be sure that we make our streets safer so everybody can use them more efficiently and more effectively.
And it's interesting. So what you're pushing for, that complete street program, it's based on the national model as well, and it's really designed safe access. We always think of pedestrians, but you wanted to make sure it's pedestrians, it's bicycle riders, it's motorists, transit riders, and also all ages and all people's different abilities are brought into that mix as well.
Well, that's right, and we've been working with the local RTC on some different aspects of this. For example, having better bus pull-outs so they don't stop right in the middle of traffic. They can pull out. And then you move the bus stop back just 6 feet. That saves a number of accidents. People are safer waiting for the bus. More lighted crosswalks so that people will see folks who are crossing the street. More public education so people know you need to go to the crosswalk, don't dash out in front of the cars to try to catch the bus. So there are many aspects of it. Bike lanes, for example. So that needs to be in the planning of any kind of major transportation project.
You know, I know that when Lee Gibson, the head of the RTC Washoe County, was on the program with you before, safe access for, you know, the all ages and abilities things. I know that's very big for the RTC and for, of course, the Southern Nevada RTC as well. I know that a big thing that he has talked to us about on a couple of shows that he's done here, people with physical challenges getting on and off buses, accessing different transit modes, etc. That's part of, I know your focus, his focus, probably, of course, Tina Quigley's focus, and part of what you wanted in this bill as well.
Well, absolutely. People with disabilities need to be able to have access to transportation, whether it's buses with lifts or sidewalks that accommodate wheelchairs or the little scooters, and they're very vulnerable. We don't want to see them in any kind of accident either. And to give you some idea of the widespread support, not only were bicyclists and the Safe Streets Coalition in favor of it, AARP came out with a very strong statement. So they are looking out for the interest of seniors, and many seniors have some of those same mobility problems.
Another thing I remember that he and you were talking about too is we have to remember that it's not only the modes of transportation, whether it's your feet as a pedestrian or a bike or a car or whatever, it's also where you are. You know, he was very focused talking with you about bike trails and walking paths and making sure those places are safe and accessible as well.
Well, that's right.
How's this tie-in?
Lee is a good friend. We have worked together on a number of projects, and part of quality of life is being able to get out of your car, enjoy the outdoors. Nevada is a fabulous place to hike or bicycle around the Red Rock Loop.
Streets as well.
Absolutely. We want all users in all modes to be protected and feel safe, like they can enjoy it and get around.
Okay, thank you. And when we return, it is mailbag time, and we've got a letter from a Nevadan. We're going to have the Congresswoman answer it right here. That's right after this.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. Play responsibly.
We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
'em. 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 And there's one thing we're even better at.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Having your child hospitalized can be a terrifying experience for any parent. In one moment, everything can change. Here at the Reno Ronald McDonald House, we can help. We keep families together when it matters the most by providing a home away from home for families with children in the hospital. Parents who stay at the Ronald McDonald House have more time with their children during the healing process. Please contact us today for more information and to see how you can help. Donate online at rmhc-reno.org.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
And we're back with our closing segment of our Eye on Washington show. It is our mailbag segment. It's where we read a letter you've sent to the mailbag page of the Joyce Communications website. We read it right here on the air. We have our Congresswoman answer your question right here. So, Congresswoman, we have a letter here for you from Mary J. And she writes to you, Dear Congresswoman Titus, there is a lot of talk about making federal program data available to the public for accountability. There's also a lot of talk about needing better cybersecurity. How do you do both? How do you view doing this in a balanced way for Nevadans? What do you say to Mary?
Well, I think Mary's hit it right on the head. You have to balance it. You have to balance the need for information and transparency with the need to protect privacy. And so in any of our programs, and we've recently passed some bills to allow more transparency of regulations and data collected, we never allow releasing personal information. For example, your health care information is protected. You have to sign when you go to the doctor. You can't just release that to anybody, and the government can't either. It has to go only to who you authorize it to. So protect personal information and privacy, but also have access to information so people can know what the government's doing, and also so the government can do things for national security and keep us all secure.
And you feel like the legislation that has passed is keeping people secure. You feel pretty good about it.
Well, I do, but I look very closely at that issue because all the time I was in the state legislature, I was very concerned about open records, but also privacy.
Sounds good. Congresswoman, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Look forward
My
to having
pleasure.
you on the program again soon. And that is it for this week's Eye on Washington. I hope you'll join us next time as we discuss more important federal matters and their impact on you in Nevada. You can visit joycecommunications.com or our Facebook page for more news from the Hill that impacts you in Nevada, and watch any shows you've missed on our YouTube page. Thanks for joining us on Eye on Washington today. I am Marilee Joyce in Washington, D.C. Have a good day.